Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy Mitchick Study, aka Papa Eldrazi, and this is my debut video for my Magic the Gathering YouTube channel. Because we all love Magic, and I'm just here to nerd out on it with you guys. So, I'd like to point out that we won't always be messing around on Arena. I'm just using it as a means to show off a deck list loosely based off a commander deck I own on paper, piloted by the Mimeoplasm, where I like to draw an unnecessary amount of cards, cast spells for free, and chain extra turns. It's quite salty, quite spicy, and 99% of the time my opponents scoop when I build that kind of engine. Among the free spells I'll be casting includes Eldrazi Titans with game-ending cast triggers and Annihilator abilities, as well as Phyrexian Praetors that give me insane advantage while locking my opponents out of the game. We are in multicolors, so we will be taking advantage of our graveyard to reanimate bombs when we can, but we are ultimately a heavy blue control and tempo deck. Let's see if we can put my opponents on Arena through what my friends had to go through. I'm really excited to get into it, so let's jump to the deck list. Alright, here we go. We are going to be running Sin, Spear's Punishment as our commander, who is also in multicolors, 7/7 flying, Leviathan Avatar. Whenever Sin enters or attacks, exile a permanent card from your graveyard at random, then create a tapped token that's a copy of that card. If the exiled card is a land card, repeat this process. So most people build around landfall triggers with this commander. We do have a couple of those in here, but that's not what we're really trying to do. We are trying to reanimate some more nasty permanents that can warp the game for our opponents. So let's get into it. Mystical Tutor. Again, having 2 or 3 combinations of cards in my hand could win me the game. Siren Storm Tamer, that's a good protective ability, but I also get to stop activated and triggered abilities, and that's where problems usually are. Strict Serenade, counter target creature spell, artifact, or planeswalker to slow my opponent down. Dark Ritual, this is like a 1-turn ramp spell that I can use to maybe cast something like this, which can easily snowball for me and win me the game. I just get to reanimate 2 creatures from graveyards after milling 10 on each player. Speaking of that, I get to reanimate some more. This is just to give a permanent that's causing a lot of problems for my opponent hexproof and indestructible for the turn. And now we're going to get into the 2 drops here. So card draw, and I also have the versatility of what goes in my grave. Cyclonic Rift for the overloaded effect, slow my opponents down. A creature counterspell. I really like this guy. He's an early game beater that can help me, again, draw a card. Also become a copy of another nasty bomb I have on the board, so now my opponent has to deal with 2 of them. It's pretty nasty. Key to the Vault to help me cast free spells at the top of my library. Counterspell, slow my opponents down. Narcissus Reversal for fun stack interaction. I can even copy my own spells with this. It's pretty fun actually. Bitter Triumph. It's a removal spell, but I also have the versatility of putting something in my grave. More tutors. Another removal spell. We got a Mana Dork. Mana Dork. Mana Dork. We got the Talismans in multicolors. Arcane Signet, Lightning Greaves. Now I know most people prefer Swiftfoot Boots because they like to modify their creatures after giving them protection, but we don't care about that. We care more about being able to give something protection and haste for 0 mana the turn it comes down, because just the attack trigger from it alone could win us the game. So we don't care too much about modifying our creatures here. Mindstone for more ramp, more Mana Dork for more ramp. Rustic Study, card advantage. Show and Tell, this is what I use to cheat in things like Omniscience. Ugin's Binding, it's basically another overloaded Cyclonic Rift effect if this is in my grave and I manage to cast a big fat colorless spell. A free counter spell. Phyrexian Arena for more card advantage. Karsi Revenant, again, helps stabilize my life. Early game beater, it intimidates my opponents from attacking me too much, and I can use its ability to give something big and huge lifelink and flying and death touch. So very useful card, to be honest. More card draw, and I give my creatures trample. Aetherize, Again, I love this card. This helps me slow the game down a lot. After my opponent spends all their resources finally putting their best creatures on the board and attacking with them, I just return it all to hand. And usually when I have an engine where they have to discard at their end step and they can't cast any more spells, it's probably one of the most annoying things to deal with. More graveyard reanimation. Okay, so this exists in here just to combo off with this. I know it's not really that interesting, but it's just like if I have to pull a win out of somewhere, I have this reliable 2-card combo. Yeah, this is a free removal spell that can also get around indestructible and hexproof and you name it. More ramp. This is our landfall triggers to play more lands and also play with our graveyard a bit more. Quicksilver Amulet. Again, we get to cheat our creatures in just for 4 mana instead of having to pay, you know, this much. And then moving on to the 5-drops. Thrix, it makes my bigger spells uncounterable and 1 cheaper less to cast. Already went through this. More landfall triggers just to draw me a card and stabilize my life points. Alright, now we're getting into the meat and potatoes of the deck list. This is where the deck functions a bit like the deck list in real life, but even then, this doesn't include all the cards in the list. But let's go through it. Flood of Tears, I get to bounce everything to hand, but if I bounce 4 or more of my non-token permanents, non-token, non-land permanents, I can cheat something in for free, and that usually is this. Arcanist the Omnipotent for more card advantage. Massacre Worm, this is a win con against like the go wide strategy decks and the Hair Apparents and Chatterfangs, you name it. Quilled Great Worm, when this card sees play, my deck starts functioning like a green deck. Everything starts getting a shit ton of counters and everything has trample, so it becomes a situation where if my opponent does not deal with me in a turn or 2, it's GG. Singularity Rupture, I love this card. I have it combo off with Rise of the Dark Realms, and it's probably like one of the most fun things to pull off. I will say, if you're gonna pull something like this off in real life Commander, please do it with your friends, because this is the absolutely nastiest thing to do, and no one is gonna want to sit through a half-an-hour turn of you resolving ETBs from, you know, 4 players, graveyards, creatures entering your battlefield. So something to consider. Hullbreaker Horror, we have this in here again for a little bit more control, as well. It combos off with ULAMOG the Ceaseless Hunger. The way I pull off this combo is, again, I make sure things are free to cast, so I don't have to worry about mana, so it's apparently quote-unquote infinite mana, but don't even think of it that way. But all I do is I find a way to recast ULAMOG the Ceaseless Hunger as many times as I like, essentially exiling everything my opponents control, including their lands, you know, getting them back to the Stone Age, so it's pretty nasty when I get to get this set up. Starwinder for, again, more card draw. Again, Overflowing Insight for a lot of card draw. We want card draw, like crazy amount of card draw in this deck, so we want to draw an overkill amount. Reach the Multiverse, again, fill up the graveyards, bring creatures back. This alone could win me the game. Ancient Silver Dragon, again, classic to have no max hand size and draw a crazy amount of cards. One with the Multiverse, again, a way to cheat in or cast stuff for free. Something to mention, green does have a lot of effects where you can put permanents on the field for free, but that's not what we want. We want to utilize blue's ability of doing that, where you get the cast triggers with it, because we have some disgusting cast triggers here that we want to resolve that can easily win the game for us. So we want the cast triggers, so one with the Multiverse. Vorinclex, again, this I love this card, one of my favorite cards. Also a card you probably should not run in real life Commander, depending on your bracket, just because you don't want to be that guy. But again, double my lands, lock my opponent's lands for a turn. Yeah, absolutely devastating. Yeah, Mass Reanimation spell, we went through this. Okay, Kozilek the Broken Reality. This is like the chiller Eldrazi Titan, honestly. It just draws me more cards and I get a 9/9 beater, and my colorless creatures get buffed a bit more. Nothing too crazy. If anything, I like using this guy as a means to bait out my opponent's removals. Alright, here we go. Jin-Gitaxias. This is one of my favorite cards in all of MTG's existence. So again, in the original deck list where I managed to draw a disgusting amount of cards and cast them all for free and chain extra turns, Jin-Gitaxias is absolutely like the best engine for having something like that, because I get to draw 7 and my opponents have to discard at their end step if they have no max hand size. So yeah, I love this card. Omniscience, yeah, I don't have to say too much about this. I hate to also admit that the deck is centered around this card because this is a very distasteful card. But yeah, we want this card. Instead of finding ways to generate infinite mana, we just want to find ways to cheat this in, and then now everything is free to play. ULAMOG ceases hunger. Yep, again, when I attack with this guy, the attack trigger alone is super devastating. Exile the top 20 cards of your library, buddy. This is, again, without even the cast trigger. I can easily mill someone out or exile someone out just between both ULAMOGs here. And again, in the original deck list with the Mimeoplasm as the commander, the way he works is I get to be a copy of any creature in the grave. Then I exile another creature with it, and it takes the power and toughness of the other one as additional counters. So the way it would work with ULAMOG Defiler, and let's say the other creature I exile is this, I essentially get a 31/31 Annihilator 24 commander. Yeah, it's pretty nasty. But moving on. Emrakul the World Anew. Just the cast trigger alone from this completely changes the tide. Easy win. I've had my opponent scoop when they were at 100 health and I was at 1 because of this guy. And the cast trigger alone is disgusting. And yeah, probably in my top 3 cards of all of MTG. I am sad it's banned in Commander. I do think that in higher brackets this card is very much acceptable and not that hard to deal with, actually, the higher you go in brackets. But yeah, this is essentially our only extra turn spell now, because Time Warp and Temporal Manipulation and that stuff has been banned in this format, so we're gonna have to stick with this, but this is plenty. This is honestly plenty. For the lands, there's really not much that's special with the lands here. Rogue's Passage and Reliquary Tower are my only utility lands. Everything else is just color fixing, conditional, untapped dual lands, and yep, that's pretty much it. So yeah, let's jump into some games and see what happens. Alright, Krenko Mob Boss. My opponent's going to be making a lot of goblins. Okay. Yeah, this is a good hand. Hopefully I draw into an outlet for the Quicksilver Amulet, but this is a decent hand. Good color fixing. Seems I get to go first. I will start with the tapped land that taps for all three of my colors. Okay, he already has a goblin on the board. And it's safe for us to ramp a bit more. Hopefully he doesn't get removed, because that would be painful. Alright, very strange for a mono red deck to hold back like that. For X in Arena, for more card advantage, and we'll just hold back. He's going to be able to cast his commander very soon, and then that's when it will snowball and get out of hand. We can let this resolve. It's not too much of a problem right now. Right, there we go. Okay. So we can afford to put the Quicksilver Amulet down and still hold up mana for the Strict Serenade to counter my opponent's commander. Let me do this the smart way. I'm gonna keep the basic island open, as I feel like the non-basic lands and the creature are much easier targets. He might think he's safe. Here comes down the land. Yep, like a moth to a flame. Whoops, slipped there. But you get a little 2/2 birdie. Alright, yeah, I imagine he's probably upset from that, and he's going to get as much damage in as he can. Let's draw some more cards. There we go. Okay, now we're getting spicy, and we can probably hold up interaction to last a little longer until we draw into something. So I'm just going to hold back. Still nothing to put down with the Quicksilver Amulet, unfortunately, but we're okay. Alright. We also could afford to hold off on the Athreos, this attack, at least. We can probably take one more. Yeah, I could probably counter that, actually. That could be a problem for this deck for sure. Should I do it? Should I? Nah, let's just take it. We can afford to take it. I also don't want my opponent to scoop that fast. I don't want one of those wins where it's just my opponent scooping over from how frustrated he is. Alright, there we go. Let's go. There we go. Okay, so we can do it now. We do have to bank on what we draw with Overflowing Insight. But yeah, we can pull it off. So here we go. Let the show begin. I am going to sacrifice Ornithopter to go tutor for any card and put it into my hand. And we are going to grab Show and Tell. We already have Omniscience, excuse me. And now we can put Omniscience down for 3 mana. Our opponent gets one as well. But 99% of the time, can't really top an Omniscience. Okay, a 4/4 dragon with haste. Here's 7 cards, buddy. Psych! Alright, there we go. Alright, we're cooking with gasoline, boys. Alright, we put this enchantment down, give everything trample. I also get card advantage from it. Here we go. Not too bad. We're going to be drawing a lot more cards and discarding our opponent's hand a bit. Let's put down 2 of our lands. We don't really need those no more. Alright, I drew 4 cards off that, and we got a Massacre Worm off this draw. Not bad. We can wipe a bit of his board with the ETB of it, actually. Let's just put a land down for fun. And, yep, let's bring him down. I will also get card draw off that. Now my opponent's getting scared. Don't really have much more to do. I could reanimate this, actually, and try to get a card draw off that. Like, at this point, I could stop and just end my turn, but we want to get overwhelming. Okay, so I make some 1/1s out of that. Yeah, and I guess I'm could play the Ice Till. Oh, there we go. That's a scoop. On to the next one. Okay. We are going to have to mulligan this one. Oh yeah, much better. This hand is nutty. I've even got my color fixing. We get to go first. Command tower. Pass turn. We can play our lightning greaves on the second turn too, so this is nice. Alright, there we go. We also have Bitter Triumph, so we have a targeted removal spell that also lets us discard something, and I'm trying to discard that Emrakul. And hopefully I can bring it back with something, or with my commander. Or that. Yep, that will do it. Pass turn. Okay, their commander is in. Athreos, God of Passage. Okay, so now we have the mana to play safe and to execute our strategy. Okay. Still no targets for our removal spell. That's okay. That counter spell is kind of useless now, with that Cavern of Souls. Okay, we're just, oh, there we go, Key to the Vault. That's something we want in here. That's going to help us cast free spells at the top of our library. Yeah, we're going to have to counter that. Yeah, absolutely. No siree. Okay, we have a creature down. It does not have protection, but this could be a problem for sure. Yeah, we can execute our plan. Here we go. We're going to discard a card. Let's discard Emrakul, the World Anew. Now I don't get the cast trigger, but that's not going to matter when I can attack with it immediately. And this time I will pay 3 life. And now when it gets back to my turn, I can execute the plan. There we go. And give it haste. And yep, that would do it. Okay, Joda the Unifier. Allowing this guy to hit the board alone could be giving my opponent the game, so gotta be careful. This hand is keepable. Not the best, but we'll see what happens. I'll play the tapped land for turn. Paradise Druid. Mana Dork with Hexproof. A little bit of extra protection just in case my opponent wants to slow me down. Yeah, it's almost like he was considering it. Just gonna continue ramping though. Okay, we can play I Still Explorer and play an extra land and have a bit of graveyard play. Let's see what surprises hit our graveyard. More land, that's good. Okay, he's ramping some more. Probably gonna get a mountain and island, I assume. Yeah. There you go, now he has all his colors. Ooh, that's nice to go in the grave. Okay. Yeah, it's getting spicy in here. Let's play some more lands. Let's have that hit the grave too. That's my turn. So my commander can come out next turn, and either one of those bombs are going to get reanimated, and I'm cool with either one, but I could use the card draw. I could also eventually overload the Cyclonic Rift if my opponent's board gets too scary. It's okay. You can bring Joda out. Okay, so Ramos instead. Alright, let's see what we get. Okay, we're gonna draw some cards. This is gonna be a bomb that if my opponent does not deal with, he's gonna have no hand, and I'm just gonna keep drawing into my whole library and essentially play whatever I want in just a matter of a couple of turns. I do have to discard, so give me a moment here. I want to try to avoid putting any permanents on the board that aren't lands or bombs. Just because sometimes reanimating ramp pieces or other utility permanents can sometimes slow me down. Okay, still getting his clock. There we go. Now Joda's in. I think it's worth it. Ah, it's a non-token. Let's let it resolve. This could be a mistake. Yeah. Now watch. Watch what's gonna happen to his board. Yeah, that is absolutely a problem. Yep. All of that just from one turn. Just from having the commander come out. So, playing very control heavy with decks like this is sometimes needed because again, if I wasn't lucky to have what I have in my hand right now when it gets back to my turn, it would have been GG, you know, by the time it gets back to his turn again. So let's see what we can do when it gets back to me. It may be worth it to actually make him sack the Ramos, just because it probably is the highest CMC for my commander. Yeah, I think we should do it. Better than taking 17 damage to the face. And my commander's gonna die anyway, so if I block it. There we go. So as if we got a nice trade. He now has no more hand. And I'm going to keep my hand replenished. I can play lands from my graveyard and play additional lands, so... We're going to skip our attack. End our turn. Draw some cards. I will need to discard, but I do have the Athreos for my opponent's attack step. Hopefully they don't have an answer to that. I'm just gonna spend a moment here discarding. Okay, here comes the attack, and boom, right back to your hand, sir. He could play some of them, but then he's forced to discard a few. Let's see which one he decides to play. Okay, Spider-Man. I imagine it would be Spider-Man and Joda. If Joda does come back down though, I am absolutely countering it. Yeah, no. We cannot let that happen again. Okay, let's keep the train going. Play some more lands. There might be a hole in my plan, but it is a plan. And we're all going through that hole together, buddy. Alright, let's see what other goodie I reanimate. No cast trigger from this, but that's okay. That's still going to be a scary bomb for my opponent to deal with. And let's hang back and draw some more cards. Alright, back to the discard phase. At this point, my graveyard's filled with way too many non-land permanents that I'm not going to have much control over what gets reanimated when I attack with my commander, but yeah, now we have to be very picky. I may even have to get rid of a counter spell. This is hard, I apologize. And since we have the mana for it, let's better triumph his commander. I guess we can afford to pay 3 life. Super Shredder is coming in, that's also a problem. I don't want that to trigger Joda here. And yeah, our opponent scoops it up. Moving on. Hello, Governor. Ooh, this is an interesting hand. Quite interesting hand, I say. Okay, I'm gonna shut up. It's actually keepable. Not bad. What's who am I up against again? Lyra Dawnbringer. Okay, no. Okay, yeah, shut up. Let's go. Opponent goes first. Command tower. Pass turn. Okay. Push ramp. Doesn't have much. Okay. Slow one from my opponent. Might be a little slow one for me too. There's not much I can do. This could work out for me though, because I do have a Zombify and that very nice 12 mana Emrakul. Or even the Jinkataxis. I have options. Okay, seems like my opponent is passing as well. Playing very peaceful. Okay. That's 2 Emrakuls in hand. Because 2 is better than 1. Now I have to discard to hand size. And there we go. I cannot pay the madness cost, so I'm just going to decline. I would rather a land than waste the Dark Ritual next turn to do this, so hopefully that's what we top deck. Yeah, my opponent's having an awful game right now. I apologize. I mean, on the surface, it looks like I'm not doing much either, so. There we go. The Vanishing Light is in the graveyard. That could actually stop my Emrakul. But we are going to show and tell the Aeon's Torrent, so we don't get the cast trigger. Maybe our opponent will accept this and not concede. He can put something down too, so. Interesting. If he does have another Banishing Light type effect, he could deal with Emrakul here. Because technically it's not a spell. It's an effect from the permanent entering the battlefield. And you can just exile it. And yeah, I'm surprised my opponent has not scooped. Yeah, we're going to see Annihilator 6 in action on just 4 tiny itty-bitty permanents. Huh. Interesting. Wow. Yo, shout out to my opponent for not scooping. For allowing this to happen. He's either amused or amused. Okay, he just passes his turn. Now he has to discard. Yeah, okay. Now we can zombify our other Emrakul. And I feel bad to do this to you, buddy, but double an Emrakul. And our opponent just takes it to the face. Very noble of him. Does not concede. And GG. Moving on. His hand's kind of risky. I probably shouldn't be too invested in this one. So if I had a bad game, I can just blame the cards. Let's go. We're going up against Judith too, so we're going to be getting pinged for doing absolutely nothing. Yeah, let's, I believe I get to go first. Hopefully I draw into a blue. Make use of that tutor. Alright, here we go. Either my opponent is AFK or is just thinking really hard about their turn one. There we go. Okay, some more colors. Still no blue. No ramp either. Okay. Awesome. Phyrexian Arena. Might be a bad idea against going up against a deck that like pings you a lot. So hopefully we draw into what we need. Okay, another tutor. Yeah, we'll just play Garruk's Uprising for now. We're also not holding up much interaction, so could very well be my opponent's game. Okay, there we go. I guess now I have my colors. All right. Okay. I could do that. I won't be able to do it this turn because I don't have the blue, but I could go tutor. I could go tutor for Omniscience with this one. Just sacrifice my Siren Storm Tamer. And then next turn I can definitely use the Mystical Tutor for Show and Tell. Then we can play Breach the Multiverse for free and play that ULAMOG for free. And hopefully that just snowballs the game for us. Okay. Yeah, this could be very bad for me. Yep. Yeah, I probably have one more turn. This is it. Oh! 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 I don't even need the tutor for it, so I can tutor for something else, actually. So, let's see. Alright. It's happening. It's happening. You can put something down, too. Okay, another land. Alright, let's go. Let's start filling up our board. Alright. Not really invested in the Mind Skinner there, so that's okay. Ah, I should have played Tatioba first, but here we go. ULAMOG. Exile half your library. Ooh, that's a big ULAMOG. Woof, 11 counters, so 11 Annihilator. Let's go. Breach the multis. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna take that big beater, and we'll take the Quill Great Worm. Yep, we're gonna draw some cards off that. Just waiting for my opponent to pass priority. There we go. Ooh, okay, we can keep this train going. Let's see what we get. It would be really funny if I get a Lightning Greaves and give ULAMOG haste. I just drew into duds, but wait a minute. I could tutor for something and play it next turn. Could have played it this turn if I played Tatio and then my land. Or yeah, this will definitely reset everything for me. Yep, I'll just return everything to my hand. I'm gonna put Omniscience back down, then Garruk's Uprising. Yeah, there we go. I'll put Omniscience down, Garruk's Uprising, cast ULAMOG the Defiler again, and my opponent scoops it up. Yep, GG. Okay, so I can likely execute the combo on my turn. Mofo trying to mill me. That's worth sacking the Siren Storm Tamer. Now it's a 50-50 chance if I'll hit Omniscience when I cast my commander. But that's better than having half my library in my grave. Usually I actually wouldn't mind. And yep, I have ULAMOG and Hullbreaker in my hand. My opponent is just stationing. But yeah, this should be a nutty combo. Alright, here we go. Sin resolves. What? There we go. Start with Hullbreaker Horror. Cannot be countered. Let's fill our board with some creatures. Hullbreaker trigger, return that artifact to his hand. There we go. I'll gladly take Jin-Gitaxias. I think Fall, actually. Doesn't matter. And now, I can execute the combo. I'm going to exile 2 of his permanents. Hullbreaker trigger. I'm going to return 1 of my permanents to hand. Now, I'll recast that permanent. Hullbreaker trigger. Return ULAMOG to my hand. Now I can target his lands. At this point, he should catch on that I have a combo. We'll see. But yeah, if he doesn't scoop it up, I'll just basically bring him back to turn 0. With what seems like 2 cards in his hand. There we go. GG. That was nasty.